From the foothills of the Andes in the west and the Brazilian highlands to the north and south, vegetation cloaks the land for 2.5 million square miles. This is the greatest forest on earth, Amazonia. It's like one immense green organism, and it harbors an astonishing variety of animals and plants within its body. Without the animals that live beneath its canopy, most of the trees in the rainforest would die. Who watches who in this mysterious world? Some trees have a most peculiar effect on those that visit them. The web of life here is so complex that we still do not understand most of what is going on. But there is one creature enlisted by the trees whose life is so closely entwined that many forest trees would disappear without its cooperation. Hanging by limb and tail from a high branch, it is easy to see the black spidery shape that prompted the forest Indians to give the monkey its name. Spider monkeys spend their whole lives high up in the rainforest canopy eating fruit. But as with everything here, it is not that simple. Their prehensile tail is the longest in the world. By curling the tip of that muscular tail around a branch, they have their hands free to reach for fruits or play with one another. Their bodies are covered in thick black fur, which may seem odd for an animal that lives in such hot and humid climes. But the night air in the canopy can be cold, especially when it is raining. Like all monkeys, they take great care to keep their coat in good condition. Every plant in their forest must ensure that at least 1 or 2 of its seeds grow to maturity. But they have to combat an army of predators. The Leucaena tree attracts the spider monkey by producing an irresistible pulp. But in this case, the monkey does not swallow the seed. It is much too big for it. They drop the seed to the forest floor, and it is here that another creature will ensure the Leucaena tree's future. The Akuchi moves through the forest using a special scent gland to mark its route. A dainty wiggle leaves an invisible message that will lead it back to food it found earlier. It does eat and destroy many seeds, but even in this seemingly rich forest, there are times coming soon when life will be a daily struggle to survive. The seed is planted at the perfect depth for it to germinate. It covers its tracks well. It buries so many that when it eventually returns to dig them up, some will already have begun to grow. As the spider monkeys feed on the Leucaena fruits, their droppings also fall onto the leaf litter below. These contain seeds from other fruits that they have eaten earlier in the day. The droppings are a good source of free fertilizer for the seed. But another creature here with eccentric dining habits has other intentions. Within minutes of the monkey droppings hitting the ground, a horned dung beetle homes in on the smell and bit by bit drags the entire heap into a freshly dug chamber underground. The seeds are buried along with the dung, but the beetle only feasts on the feces. The seed will remain underground and have a better chance to germinate away from the jaws of predators. Many of our familiar foods originally come from the rainforest. Chocolate is made from the seeds of the cacao tree. Wild cacao produces fruits in the lower forest layer. One monkey that cannot resist it is Gray's sake, seed predator and #1 enemy of many trees. The pod grows directly off the main trunk of the tree, making it easier for some animals to reach. The sake's teeth are especially adapted for biting open hard fruit husks. They prefer their seeds young and fresh. This one must be too ripe for it. Seed predators such as squirrels and the sakis are as important as the dispersers in the overall strategy of the forest. By limiting the number of seeds from each tree that germinate, they prevent too many seedlings from competing for limited food and light in the poor rainforest soil. Some trees protect their crop by producing husks strong enough to prevent predators from getting through to the seeds. The tree best known in Amazonia for doing this is the Brazil nut. The mahogany tree too uses the same strategy, but they do not rely upon animals to disperse them. The pods are very tough. It is the wind that will eventually carry their winged seeds away from the parent tree. The Brazil nut's 2-kilo pod falls from 40 to 50 meters, and they have been known to kill people. The thud of the husks hitting the floor attracts the only animal really capable of opening it. The agouti is a timid and cautious creature. There are predators in this forest other than those that eat seeds, and a 3-kilo agouti would make a good meal. After peeling the soft outer layer, it delicately pares away the hard wood. Even with its chisel-like teeth, it takes this rodent up to 20 minutes to get through to the 18 or so seeds inside. The nuts are the very same that many of us struggle with every year at Christmas. But with those teeth, the agouti shells them as easily as we do garden peas. After eating one, the agouti will take those left inside the husk, one by one, up to 400 meters away, and store them for the hard times that are just around the corner. Like its cousin the akuchi, it will not retrieve all of them, and those that remain buried will eventually repopulate this area of forest with Brazil nut trees. Spider monkeys have a maximum home range of about 1,000 hectares. A dominant female heads the small party on their foraging trips through the forest. The babies are born at the beginning of the wet season and will be nursed by the mother until they are 3 years of age. The youngster won't leave her back permanently until it is 1.5 years old, and during this time it learns to feed by example. Spider monkeys specialize in eating the fruits of many big valuable timber trees. To avoid predation, the seeds must germinate quickly, and they cannot unless the outer layer of the seed has been softened. Only by passing through the spider monkey's digestive system will this happen. All the fruits that spider monkeys alone disperse have to be split open by their teeth. But some plants employ a very different strategy to attract potential seed dispersers. When their seeds are mature, the tree advertises the fact by opening the fruit to reveal appetizing colors, sometimes with startling effect. Some birds, like Spix's guan, are attracted by the edible seed coating, but to eat it, they have to swallow the seed as well. The bird will regurgitate the seed later and far away from the parent plant, an important factor if a forest is to remain diverse and healthy. A bird built to fly a beak is a fair description of the toucan, and, like the spider monkey, it is a very important seed disperser. The toucan swallows the whole fruit, and later, far away from where it picked it, the seed will be regurgitated. The huge beak may look clumsy, but it is actually a precision instrument. It allows the bird delicately to pick at fruits on the extremities of branches that a smaller beak could not reach. Plants like this clusia have an added problem. They are epiphytes, living high in the canopy, using the branches of other trees for support, so their seeds need to be scattered high up in the trees. The clusia seeds are coated with a sticky substance, and when they are deposited in bird droppings on a branch, they are glued on. The toucan's feeding session is brought to an abrupt halt by the arrival of the spider monkeys. Clearly visible in its droppings are the small seeds of an epiphyte. Fruits opening to advertise they are mature is one way to lure animals to take them, but one tree has evolved a more cunning method. Ormosia produces a seed that looks succulent, but in fact it is as hard as iron and quite inedible. So how does it germinate? Trumpeter birds scour the leaf litter for insects and grind up their prey in their gizzards. There is no grit in the rainforest, and it has only recently been discovered that trumpeter birds use Ormosia seeds as substitute grit to break down hard insect matter in their crops. By this process, the seed's outer layer is worn away. When the bird eventually passes them out, they germinate quickly in the leaf litter. The colorful Ormosia seed wants to be seen, but there are some creatures who don't. It may be the most poisonous snake in the forest, but the fer de lance has made a grave error by showing itself to the trumpeters. These birds are snake killers. In just a few minutes, the deadly fer-de-lance has been pecked to death. Some trees and lianas can be just as lethal as a bite from a fer-de-lance. The strychnos liana has a fruit that is heavily charged with strychnine. The poison is only present in the seeds when the fruits reach maturity. The spider monkeys are close to the fruiting strychnos crown, and one of the youngsters is beginning to spend short periods away from her mother. Some animals who will come to feed here on the strychnos fruits are going to die. The forests of the Amazon weren't called rainforests for nothing. Towards the end of July, the rains move away, and this triggers the flowering cycle of most trees and plants. Many accounts of early forays into the rainforest by man spoke of a wilderness of monotonous green. But when individual trees begin to promote themselves to attract pollinators, the forest canopy is dappled with color. The dry season also signals the beginning of a difficult time for many of the animals, especially the fruit-eating monkeys. The leaf litter tells the tale. Fallen blossoms show that flowers high on the canopy have been successfully pollinated and will eventually bear fruit. But the next 3 months will be a time of famine for many that live here. Another high forest primate, the woolly monkey, fares better during this spell than the spider monkeys. Their diet includes more leaves and flowers than their relatives. There are a few fruits ripening, and the woolly monkeys test them, but they are weeks away from being ready to eat. They also spend a lot of time insecting. Fat, juicy caterpillars make a tasty snack. Woolly monkey society is similar to that of the spider monkeys. However, unlike spiders who are ruled by the females, they are governed by a dominant male. Far below, on the forest floor, the agouti searches for food it's set aside just for this time. A superb sense of smell helps it to detect the seeds it buried earlier in the year. For the spider monkeys, a good memory is essential. The dominant female knows her home range intimately. She leads her group to remote food sources that she remembers year after year. there are a very few trees that fruit more or less throughout the dry season. The bacaba palms often have fronds flowering and fruiting at the same time. For one bird, this is good news. The toucan has young. They are especially vulnerable at this time, as they are fledging and need a reliable source of food. They are soon regurgitating the seeds just like their parents. Once their digestive juices have softened the hard outer pulp, the young toucan expertly manipulates the fruit, and dropping the seed to the forest floor, it swallows the pulp. The female is taking her group to a tree bearing only a meager crop. The strange spiky fruits are a relative of the fig. The first couple she tests are not ripe, and her gentle nibbling prompts this fruit to defend itself. A sticky latex exudes from the spiky tips. Her biting also makes the fruit ripen quicker. They eventually find some that are ripe and feast on the pulp and seeds. The aerial roots of a canopy epiphyte drape down from the crown of a tall inga tree. The owner of these roots is related to the familiar cheese plant. It may look innocuous, but if we chewed on this succulent ripe fruit, our mouths and throats would swell to such an extent that we may choke to death. It is heavily laced with oxalate crystals. While one female tucks in, another turns her attention to the aerial roots. These monkeys know that only the tips of these roots do not contain the poison and are edible. This youngster will have to get there sooner if it is to find anything worth eating. Some inga trees attract one of the strangest looking of all monkeys in Amazonia, the white wakari. It is a voracious seed predator whose teeth are specially adapted to tear open tough woody pods like this inga fruit. There are birds, too, that take their toll on the seed population, especially young seeds. Parrots and macaws have beaks as effective as the wakari's teeth. It will cut through the strong outer casing of this fruit like a hot knife through butter. The woolly monkeys do not eat these fruits, and the seeds inside these pods will fall out when ripe. The white wakari lives in areas where the forest floods annually, and about 9% of the trees in Amazonia rely upon the water to disperse their seeds. Many of the trees here are festooned with epiphytes, and some of them have hidden surprises. This tangle of epiphytes is in fact an ant's nest. The Companotes ants who live in it have chosen a mollia tree for their high-rise home, and the reason for this choice is fascinating. The base of the fruits are crowded with plant hoppers, whose needle-sharp mouthparts suck a special sap from the stalk, and the ants in turn feed on the hopper's secretions. This is not the end of the tale, however. It is even more complex. Growing from the ant garden are many plants whose roots help bind the nest together. When these plants eventually produce fruits, the ants harvest the contents, seeds. They take every one of them back to their nest and plant them in the walls of the garden. It is a completely self-contained, self-propagating community. The mollia tree's seeds will eventually be cast into the waters below and drift away as the level falls. Tambaqui weighs in at an enormous 30 kilos. Its huge body is built by the rich fats and proteins of the 50 or more species of seeds that it eats. Several other species of fish also help to disperse seeds, such as the banded araku. The tambaqui has powerful molar teeth that crush rock-hard seed kernels with ease, but some pass through its gut unharmed and eventually germinate on dry land after the waters have returned to the rivers. The flooded forest provides a haven for the tapir. This baby is enjoying the water's edge while its mother searches for fruits further into dry forest. They are large, gentle herbivores who have long trunk-like noses that they use to browse and sweep foliage. One of its favorite fruits is balusia. The soft, juicy pulp contains many small seeds, and the tapir simply cannot resist them. The forest Indians' knowledge of this fact enabled them to use it to set traps. They call the balusia tree guava of the tapir. The animal has long been a favorite food of theirs, and of the jaguar. That snout is highly sensitive. It doesn't just pick up the scent of fallen fruit. It also detects danger a good way off. She moves carefully towards the creek, and her baby, who is unaware of the imminent danger. The powerful cat has an instant effect upon the spider monkeys who've seen it below. Their alarm calls carry far through the forest and warn all of its presence. Safety for a tapir is in the water. They are strong swimmers and can dive well. The mother whistles an alarm to her youngster. The danger is past. The spider monkeys calm down as they contemplate a much more pleasant prospect. Only a few species of tree, and this is one, produce a large crop of juicy fruits, which the monkeys purposely leave longer than they would do normally. The fruits ferment quickly in the tropical sun, and the spider monkeys adore them. For them, just a couple of fruits are about the equivalent of a treble whiskey. The effect on their relatively slight bodies is rapid and intoxicating. It's a well-known fact that alcohol impairs judgment, and this monkey miscalculates the distance to a branch. It's of no importance. Spider monkeys are so acrobatic that a 50 to 70-foot drop is taken in the general swing of things. Familiar signs begin to appear. Movements become slow, but that tail must have a mind of its own. It clings on no matter what. Vision perhaps blurred. And, of course, hunger. The hangovers are inevitable. In the forests of the Amazon, thousands of seeds hang waiting for a breeze strong enough to dislodge them. Just over a tenth of the trees in Amazonia are wind dispersed. But the Tachygalia tree does something unusual. The forest floor close to the base of the dying tree is littered with its seeds. In the canopy, a line of skeletal crowns bear witness to the synchronous death of this species. Below, in the half-light of the forest floor, a new generation is already replacing it. The giant tree eventually falls, and the hole it leaves in the canopy allows more light to flood the area below. The seedlings grow rapidly. The appearance of lush new growth never goes unnoticed in this forest, and it quickly attracts browsing animals such as red brocket deer. They will munch their way through the seedlings until virtually nothing remains, and this is why the tree produces so many seeds, in the hope that just one will escape predation. The death of a tree is a vital part of the scheme of things here. It helps promote diversity. The gaps begin to fill rapidly with fast-growing plants and trees, like the cecropia. This tree attracts one of the most enigmatic animals of the forest. The three-toed sloth spends as much time as possible doing as little as possible. It is, however, very partial to the leaves and fruit of the cecropia. The pendulous fruits are specifically designed to be dispersed by bats, and unwanted visitors are in for a surprise. The cecropia has a concealed weapon. Living inside the hollow trunk are an army of Azteca ants. The tree provides them with food and accommodation, and in return, they protect it. At first, it's just an irritation, but eventually they rout the intruder. The ant's message gets through, and the three-toed sloth makes a slow getaway. Another forest gap specialist is the wild banana tree, and the strange fold in this leaf is not accidental. A group of tent-making bats have chewed through the midrib of the leaf so that it droops down, providing a sheltered roost for them to pass the day. It is late afternoon, and they are becoming restless. The spider monkeys move into their lodge tree, where they will spend the night. Their movement disturbs another canopy resident who has passed the day in deep sleep. There are some nights when you just don't want to get up. As one world goes to sleep, another begins to awake. On moonlit nights, owl monkeys call. Passion flowers pollinated by hummingbirds have ripe fruit now. These are the only nocturnal monkeys in the world. They love soft fruits and will swallow the seed along with their juicy coatings. Driven by thirst, the kinkajou finally drags itself out of bed. A flowering bromeliad provides a source of drinking water. Its leaves closely overlap at the base, forming a treetop water tank that other creatures take advantage of too. The kinkajou is only interested in nectar or fruit. The Belusia tree, whose fruit the tapir likes so much, is also one of its favorites. The seeds are tiny, and many will be dispersed in its droppings during the night. Bats are one of the most important specialists in regenerating gaps in the forest where trees have fallen. Large fruits like this are taken back to their tent roost. Using its wing claws, the bat deftly rotates it, chewing off the moist pulp. The seed it is eating here will be dropped to the ground with about 15 others that it'll get through this night. And some will germinate and ultimately produce a high forest tree to fill this gap. As with the creatures of the day, those that come out at night have no intentions of dispersing seeds. They just want to eat them. In a den under the forest floor, a pair of paca are stirring. Their dens have several entrances, which they keep clear under the ground for emergency escapes. They emerge cautiously and one at a time. They are a favorite prey of nocturnal cats and large constricting snakes. The first task of the night shift is to refill their burrow entrance with leaves to hide its location from enemies. These large rodents feed mainly on fallen fruit, and they have powerful jaws that destroy the seeds quickly. There are many smaller nocturnal rodent predators, like the spiny rat. They too take a heavy toll on fallen seeds. The fer de lance is not after the fruit, but the fruit eater. The rat has a lucky escape this time. Some ripe strychnos fruits have fallen, and one of the packers has come across them. The seed is now loaded with deadly strychnine. This will be the last meal it ever eats. Packard's body is already being consumed fast. In 24 hours, not even the bones will be left. The spider monkeys are awake and hungry. Breakfast today is in the nailwood tree. This tree produces vast quantities of fruit all at one time and drops its crop as quickly as possible. The yellow-footed tortoise can be an effective seed disperser despite its slow nature. Birds like the razor-billed curassow slice open the seeds. Agoutis and pacas, too, feast on the abundant fruit fall. Despite this heavy predation, the tree produces so much fruit that at least 1 or 2 seeds are likely to escape the jaws of these predators. But from the tree's point of view, the spider monkeys once again are the perfect partners. The female has moved into the crown of the Strychnos liana to feed, and her baby is following her. The mature fruits, with their deadly seeds inside, are easily picked. Spider monkeys have adopted a unique way of feeding on these fruits that protect them from harm and also ensures that the seeds are scattered in the best way. Their technique is not to chew, but to swallow the whole seed and surrounding pulp without biting it. Their digestive system removes the nutritious pulp and softens the seed coating in the only way that will allow it to germinate. And all of this after the monkeys have traveled considerable distances from the parent tree. They play a vital part in the regeneration of this forest. Left alone, this forest will continue to regenerate and evolve in the right way. Over 1/4 of all prescription medicines originate here, yet less than 2% of the plants have been studied. For hundreds of thousands of years, the animals and trees of Amazonia have evolved together, to the point where many are completely reliant upon each other for survival. Yet today, that existence is increasingly fragile. We could benefit from these complex relationships, but only if we allow them to continue. Who knows what miracle drugs are locked within the rainforest of the Amazon? Maybe the spider monkey has the key.